Hey everyone, Joe Axman here, mediocre astrologer. He's okay. What's up, everyone? I haven't made a video in a little while, and today I thought there was definitely a need of an update. First of all, on a personal note, things have been a little challenging for me. After all the, abundant laughing and happiness and all that, which I still believe in, it did trigger something which I did not foresee, which was a period of depression, which I'm starting to come out of. But I mean, it makes sense, if you kind of push happiness, then obviously it's kind of like yin and yang, like if you go work out at a gym, later you're tired and sore, right? And so that kind of happened. And it's not a bad thing. It just uncovered a deeper layer of shadow work that I need to work on and look at. So I believe it's all necessary and healthy. So I'm fully supportive of the whole process. It's just good to know that coming in, if you're pushing a positive, happy attitude, it might uncover something that you hadn't looked at beneath that, but it doesn't mean it's not worth doing, because this whole process is about getting things moving, right? And so there's a ripple effect, and if you can move along the healing process, then it's worth it, right? And so it's not creating unhappiness, it's revealing it, right? So that's what happened with me. Also, some of you probably heard that there was in the current events, there was an attack on Israel by Hamas, which is deeply disturbing because let's give it some backdrop. First of all, Joe Biden gave Iran $6 billion for hostages, which a lot of people said was quite unnecessary, and a lot of money for that. Not that the hostages weren't, it's not that we can put a value on their life. It's not, I'm not saying that, but that there could have been a negotiation that did not involve so much money, right? That there could have been a better trade, a better deal, right? Instead of giving Iran, a terrorist regime, so much money. And it's not just I'm like, like sort of like biased against Iran. I mean, they've really called out not only Israel as their enemy, but America and the United States, and they want to destroy both of them, right? And so Iran has been recently tweeting that now is the time for the Palestinians to, take back Israel, right? Which is, it's terrorism. I mean, these are civilians here, and I'm not biased. I'm not trying to say that any one people is superior to another. I'm against war. I'm against war in Ukraine and Russia, in Palestine and Israel. I'm against corrupt governments, whether it's Hamas or the Israeli government killing civilians. I'm against all of it, right? I'm not for that, right? So please don't misconstrue because some people have become very callous, I notice, and cold-hearted, and they think it's justified because some really ridiculous, ignorant, retarded notion that Israel is occupying Palestinian land, which is insane. It's insane. Let me just put that on the record. That's stupid and insane, because Jews have always lived in the area, and it's not like, so people have a very simplistic idea. It's like they think Jews are white people and Palestinians are brown people, and that's not true. This is plainly not true. There are plenty of white-skinned, blonde hair, blue-eyed Palestinians and other Arabs, as well as brown and black skinned Jews. So, I mean, that whole notion is ridiculous. And Jews have lived in the Middle East since infinity, right? Since Judaism began, including Israel, right? There were 1 million Jews all throughout the Middle East. And then after the creation of Israel, they were all expelled. It's a whole nother story, but I mean, this idea that Jews just came from Europe into Israel is retarded. It's fucking stupid and ignorant and wrong. It's completely wrong. Like it's factually wrong. So I mean, all these bigots are like, oh, it's occupation. They're just stupid fucking retards. Like, and they're just idiots. And they're like, oh, the Jews deserve it. These are just hateful people, right? So I just want to put that out there, that if that's not some idea that you have, get rid of it, because it's about as stupid and ignorant as, like, the worst vile forms of racism. It really is. And that includes Zionism. Like, it's not this whole notion that, like, Zionism is a derogatory. I just have to put this on the board. Like something bad or evil. It's wrong. It's not. Zionism is nothing but support of Israel. Like, if you're in favor of Israel, you're a Zionist, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, are you in support of America? Well, then you're just the same. I mean, worse, in fact, because white America, Europeans invading America there's no historical precedence for that. Like, we wiped out like millions of Native Americans to have this land, whereas Jews in Israel not only have historical precedence, they never left. There were Jews there the whole time. That's a historical fact. You can't argue with the reality. I mean, we have documents. There's so much evidence to support that, not only in Israel, but the whole entire Middle East. Jews have been there the whole time, and North Africa, right? So it's the whole argument is completely wrong, and it's ignorant. Whenever anyone talks about, like, oh, the occupation, or apartheid, it's complete insanity, right? Like, it's cherry picking, and it's ignoring, like, all the other stuff going on in the world. Like, why have a laser pinpointed focus on Israel when Muslims and Christians are killing each other right now in Africa, right now? Like, do you not care that there's over 50 Muslim majority nations that did not used to be that way? What about that? Do we not care that? I mean, I'm not arguing against that. Like, fine, that's the way the world goes. But, like, the hypocrisy is what bothers me. When Jews are not allowed to have any homeland, but Muslims are allowed to continuously expand and kill and murder and do whatever they want without any sort of, nobody's calling them out, right? Or very few people, right? So it's this hypocrisy that I'm against. Okay. And things happen, this stuff happens. I mean, if you look at the history of India and Pakistan, right? Pakistan became Muslim, India became Hindu, but there was wars there, and, like, people killing and murdering each other, on both sides, and so, is one not an occupation? The other, I mean, Pakistan would be, is an occupation of what it was historically Hindu land, right? So, that, are we making a big deal out of that? I mean, are we making a big deal out of that China is occupying Tibet? Nobody talks about that, right? So I wish for peace for all people, right? And so this is deeply disturbing to me, and Netanyahu has declared war, and this is the first time since a long time, right? So I just want to share the screen just to look at that. 1 second. Breaking updates. Israel. Move, you stupid fucking. All right. Israel-Hamas war escalates. Hamas launched unprecedented attacks on Israel, entering Israeli territory. Israel declared a state of war, first time since 1973. That's huge. Here's the latest updates. I'll just play this video. I don't need to play the sound, but you can just see some of the stuff that's happening there. Hamas launched over 5,000 missiles into Israel, and the Iron Dome, for some reason, has failed, and Hamas has invaded Israel and is murdering people, civilians, and capturing hostages as well, right? And IDF, the Israeli army, is retaliating as we speak. So this is all very disturbing news. I'm not for any of it. I'm for all the people. I'm not for murdering of Israelis or Palestinians, right? Or anyone else. I think it's all horrible. And Joe Biden funded this war. Just let's be clear. Joe Biden funded this war. Joe Biden is the worst president of all time. So let's put that on the table too. Joe Biden is the devil. One of them. There's a lot of devils. But let me share my screen again. Okay, it's ridiculous here. All right. So here are the transits. I wanted to show that. We do have South Node conjunct Mars, where Mars is in detriment in Libra. So Mars in Libra is quite passive aggressive. And on its own, it might just be like, lacking integrity, trying to do underhanded things. But we also have Sun in Libra, and Sun in Libra as well, together with Mars in Libra, creates a lot of lack of integrity, like no honor, dishonor, right? Like underhandedness, deception, by any means necessary is sort of the kind of energy that these two together will create. But not only that, we have Mars square Pluto and Capricorn. So this is a very dangerous Mars because it's lacking integrity. It's supported by a debilitated Sun in Libra, conjunct the South Node, which the South Node is also square Pluto. The nodes are square Pluto still by a few degrees. So that's just adding to this tension, aggressiveness. Also, we have North Node conjunct Eris in Aries, right? And so that is, creating this divide between war and peace, aggression, and lack of integrity here with Mars and Sun in Libra. So it is a dangerous time right now, and we have a few other things going on. We have Saturn square Sedna. Also, Venus seems to be playing in there a little bit, which I don't know how much that's going to play into this, but it's certainly not going to add to it. I mean, Sedna, I would think, square Saturn would create issues of deception, right? Because I mean, number one, Saturn is in Pisces. Sedna deals with water, flooding. It kind of has a Neptunian vibe. So I think the Saturn square Sedna is a deceptive, underhanded, kind of sneaky kind of thing going on. Jupiter in conjunct the Sun speaks to me about greed, because Jupiter in Taurus is very sort of wants to hoard and gather materials and land and wealth and food. And it's in conjunct a debilitated Sun in Libra, so which is lacking honor, lacking integrity. The Sun is very honorable normally. The Sun represents our honor, our leadership, our direction. And when it's in Libra, we can lose that. We can lose our honor. We can lose our dignity. We can lose our direction in life. Obviously you have to look at other things, but when it's in conjunct a Jupiter here, so that shows like there's it's bringing out the worst parts of Jupiter and Taurus, which would really speak about greed and hoarding and gathering and wanting to take, right? Wanting to take, especially when it's retrograde. Retrogrades tend to be more aggressive, more going obviously against the grain, and so war can show up when a lot of planets are in retrograde. And we do have Pluto, Saturn, Neptune, Chiron, Eris. The nodes are always in retrograde. Jupiter, Uranus, Sedna. It's a lot of retrogrades right now, right? So this is a dangerous time. Yeah. Also, we have Ceres in Scorpio. And just on a personal note, I just let me share this real quick. Ceres is right on my ascendant and it's squaring my Mars. And just as a little anecdotal story, when Pluto was transiting my first house in the 80s, I had three things that happened to me. Number one, I cut my knee down to the bone, like it was gaping wide open, like, and the doctor said it was the worst cut he's ever seen. I saw my bone. I saw my knee bone. I freaked out. It's like it was a cut that was this wide and like it opened up like over an inch, across. It just like it unzipped my whole knee. Massive scar. I broke both wrists and my elbow all at the same time on a separate occasion within a few year period. And the third thing that happened was that my brother was hit by a train and killed. That was when Pluto was in Scorpio, squaring Mars, my ascendant lord, and I also have Saturn here. So in between there, when it was, in between when Pluto was on my ascendant, conjuncting Uranus, in between the North Node, in between the square of Saturn and Mars, which is dangerous on its own. That's when that all happened. Now Ceres is doing a similar thing. And if you know the mythology of Ceres, Ceres relates to Pluto because Ceres, goddess of agriculture, daughter Persephone, went to Hades, ate some fruit, and the whole thing is like now she spends half her time in Hades and half her time above. And so agriculturally, we have half the growing season, we have food, and half we don't. So like that's long story short. But anyway, Ceres has a connection to Pluto. It's in Scorpio, so it's a kind of a dangerous position, very deep, dark, heavy, dangerous for me. And I had an accident just last week. I you can see it barely. My thumb's all swollen. I cut my thumb really bad, right? I was cutting a squash, I slipped and it just went right into my thumb, really bad. My thumb's all swollen, it's stiff. I can barely move it. I can move it, but it's stiff, right? And I got this really bad gaping wound, and so that's Ceres, right? So Mars and Saturn are dangerous, especially Mars is your ascendant lord. Or Saturn, but anyway, that's a difficult combination that I have here. So yeah, and this also accounts for my depression, which I've been having lately. But good thing is Ceres is not going to spend too long in here. Anyway, guys, that's all I really wanted to share with you. It is troubling. It is a little bit of a dark and heavy time. The winter season is coming, which I'm grateful for. I love the colder weather, the fall, right? I love 4 seasons, but I'm tired of the heat, tired of sweating all the time. So I'm ready for the fall. But let's hang in there. Things will get better as always. And yeah, book a reading with me. And I will see you again soon. I can't, I haven't really been wanting to make any astrology videos lately, probably because I've been a little bit depressed, but at some point, I'll get back into it. So I wish you all the best and take care of yourself and be well. And yeah, that's it for now. Mediocre astrologer signing off. He's okay. Still gotta laugh. Still gotta laugh. So anyway, guys, I'll see you again soon. All right, thanks. Bye.